Okay, so in 2015, we were making $20,000 a month. And then in a single month, our affiliate program cut our commissions in half. And then Google also reduced our rankings. So that took us from $20,000 a month to $3,000 per month, which was pretty impactful. We came this close to filing bankruptcy, and it was a tough multiple year fight back. So here's the four things I did to make it back and some lessons I've learned along the way so you can do it faster. First of all, we want to stay in the fight, and I'm going to give you the one trick that has unlocked everything for me. Number two, we want to find your meaning. Number three, I'm going to help you find your gift. And then number four, you got to stay alive. Point number one, stay in the fight. So when our business failed, guys, I didn't take it very well. I was curled up in the fetal position on the office floor, worked for myself, but definitely did not have the strength, the conviction, the energy to fight. I was an abject failure, and my mental health was in the gutter, and then maybe a little bit lower. It was a deep gutter. So how did I get back into the fight? I started by moving my body. And the key thing I knew was principles. A principle from jujitsu is you have to move when you're fighting an enemy. And so one of the key things I did was started to run 1 mile every single night. I did not miss a single night for 30 days. And in that 30 days, we went from being absolutely hopeless to selling our house, to getting our budget downsized to a budget that we could afford with the new level of living, and starting to fight the way back up. So that first 30 days was really critical. 1 mile per day. I'm very, very much in the belief now that if we continued with that 1 mile per day, our trajectory back out of that downturn would have been much, much faster. In fact, we ultimately got our biggest business breakthrough when I decided to train for a marathon a couple of years later. And by the time I had completed that marathon, the business was fully back. So there is a huge connection for entrepreneurs between the way we treat our body and the outcome and the revenue that we get. We don't get the luxury of coasting like an employee does. And so keep that in mind. Now, for you, it might not be running. For you, it might be weightlifting. But if you don't get those results from weightlifting, guys, I'm a huge fan of running. So go out there, pound the pavement, get a mile in, and see what happens. Number two, you have to find your meaning, and you have to find your meaning in the suffering. Listen, suffering is a part of the human experience, and it is something that is not talked about enough in society. And so when you deal with anxiety, when you deal with depression, you're really looked at like a second-class citizen in American Western society in a lot of ways. And what's unique about suffering is that we have wrestled with it for 2,000 plus years. The Greeks argued about what is the meaning of life. Nietzsche famously argued about what is the meaning of life. There's a beautiful book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And so you in this point are very likely trying to find your meaning and your place in this, and why the suffering and why the business success and all these why questions. And so one of the things I will just really need to take out of this for myself is that I believe God created me and created each one of us to solve a unique problem and to show his light into the world. And so if we're working on those two things, we're going to be on the right track. Point. Whenever I'm in this point, I go back to Psalms 90, and there's a verse that says, let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands. Yes, establish the work of our hands. And guys, I will print that off. I will start the morning and I will just get on my knees and I will pray that a few times. Anytime I'm at my work day and doubt begins to come in, I will take a moment and I will pray that verse. Lord, I'm doing my best, but establish the work of my hands, because ultimately it's through him that we get health. It's through him we get our gifts, and it's through him that we're able to put our best work into the world. And so that's how I approach it. Now, you might be watching this and you don't believe in God. And there's other ways that you can explore your meaning in life. And I'm not going to be as good of an expert in this, but I'm going to tell you one way that I find huge inspiration in the meaning for life outside of God is really the Greek idea of arete. Listen, arete is excellence or virtue. In other words, just striving for the sake of excellence, because excellence is worth striving for. And all too often in our society, we're trying to do it the most efficient way, the easiest way, the fastest way, not the most excellent way. And Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And I think all too often in our society, in our life, in my life, I'm just trying to make it through the day. I'm not trying to bring excellence. And so in this moment, when your business has collapsed around you and you're saying, oh my word, what's next? Well, if you need a handle to hold, handle number one, start running a mile a day. Handle number two is start trying to do everything with excellence, whether that's making your bed, organizing your bedside table, organizing your desk, organizing your kitchen, organizing your living room, getting your taxes done. Make sure that your life reflects excellence. And that's going to be an excellent second handle for you to hold in this season. All right. Point number three, we have a really great base that we're fighting from now. Where are we fighting? What is the direction we're fighting? What business should you start next? You're clearly a business person. What business should you start next? And my thoughts on this have changed dramatically in the past year, thanks to another entrepreneurial dad who has a lot of experience doing this. So back in the day, I would literally just post on, Reddit or Facebook and say, hey, what's the hot new business idea that I should start? And that changed for me when I was at a campfire recently on a men's retreat. And I was talking to another entrepreneurial dad, and he just asked me, he's like, do you know why businesses fail? Now, I've been around a lot of businesses that fail, and they fail for a lot of different reasons. And I'm start giving him some of those reasons. And he's like, no, 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 no. There's one reason. Do you know what that reason is? And I'm like, okay, no, I don't know what that one reason is why businesses fail. He said, it's one word. It's fear. And if I could get specific about it, he said, it is doubt. He said, you see these kids see a great business idea on TikTok. And so they start doing it. And with every business, you're going to face doubt. So you get this idea from TikTok, you start trying to do that, the doubt creeps in and it kills the momentum. You might be a plumber and you worked for your boss for a lot of years and you think, okay, I'm going to do this business. And you start doing the business and then it gets hard and that doubt starts to come in and it kills the momentum. All too often, when that doubt starts, it's easier to watch another episode of Netflix. It's easier to scroll another reel on Instagram, and you lose the momentum that is needed to start a business. Listen, most businesses don't make it. It takes a huge amount of fire in the belly and willingness to push in the face of doubt in order to win. You have to move in absolute certainty. And it's like, so do you know how you move in absolute certainty? Do you know how to get that momentum, that fire in the belly? And now at this point, I had some guesses, but I'm like, no, I don't. Just bring it on. Let me hear it. And he's like, I'm going to go to the scripture for this. He's like, I'm going to go to 1 John 4. And there's a verse in 1 John chapter 4 of the Bible that says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. I'm like, that's beautiful. Love conquers fear. I get it. How does that apply to business? He's like, here's the way I've implemented it in my business. He says it's like this. He said, God put you here to show his love to the world. Okay, I agree with that. We're on the same page. God gave you unique giftings, unique ways of seeing things that no one else can see. And they're paired together. You have a unique way of seeing things that no one else sees. And you have a unique gifting for addressing that need. And when you identify what those are and they come before God and say, Lord, how do I put this together to show your love to the world? You're going to get your mission. And then when you start your business, you're not starting a business. You're a man on a mission or a woman on a mission. And listen, when you're a person on a mission, you are an unstoppable person. And that's the amount of conviction it takes to get your business to be a success. And I want to take our next video next week and go into that for the beginning entrepreneur, for the teenager, for the person looking for that career, to help them have some really great tips on how to find their giftings and to use those in a way that is great alignment with who they are and also enables them to get the most leverage on showing love to the world and making the world a better place. So we'll go into that in more detail, but already right now, I can tell you your wheels are turning. Get a pen and paper out, write down your giftings, write down the things you love, write down the things that are unique about you, and start putting those together and praying over those. And you'll start to get an idea on how you can bring your unique idea into the world. Okay, so at this point, you're running a mile a day. You understand the deeper meanings of suffering in life, and you're going to be able to pass those on to someone one day. You're currently on a journey to identify what mission you're supposed to be on. That's going to come in the next week or two, and you're going to start that mission. but you have to pay the bills today. You have to pay the utility bill. You have to buy bread for your kids. You got to keep a roof over your heads. And so, what are you going to do right here and now? And I'm going to tell you right now that you have to be running a mile a day for this section to make sense, because I'm going to throw you some great questions to process and to help you come out on top. But they only work when your mind is at enough rest that it can process these questions and access some of the deeper memories that aren't currently accessible to you in your state of stress. And so these are some of the questions and things that I wrestled with when we were going through our failure. And all of the answers came to me during a run, which is why point one is so important. So, what some of the questions? Number one, what skills do you currently have that people would be willing to pay you for? What's the industry that you could use those skills in that'll pay you the most money right now to go get a job in? Who will vouch for you and give you a letter of recommendation? Who do you know will take out a phone and shoot a testimonial video for you really quickly? Those are pretty powerful these days. Who do you know who could introduce you to someone in your industry to help you get to the next level and the next piece you need to be? Very often, if you have a high paying skill set, you may be able to take on 2 or 3 or 4 part-time jobs and work with them together, so long as all the partners know what's going on, and put together a very highly varied and very fulfilling line of work that will also enable you to work on your own thing in the meantime. We're going to see a lot more of that as AI comes out. It means that it's not necessarily necessary for a business to have a single employee doing a task. They only need a quarter of an employee to run the AI. You can be that person running the AI for 4 or 8 companies. And so this can be a really great way to go, but you need those introductions to help make that happen. And so as you are on your runs, think about that. And then one more question to think about what are any unique assets or tools or things of value laying around the house that maybe I'm not thinking about right now that I could use to create a buffer between me and the threat that's coming. And so when I thought about that question, I certainly thought of some assets that we currently weren't using that we could reposition that helped us through our time and help us to come out on top. So from these questions, you're going to get the money to survive another day and to start on your mission. And 2 years from now, you're going to be on your mission. It's going to be going well. You'll have overcome the doubts that mission has thrown in your path. You're going to be a better human because of it. And you're going to be living your day to day with so much more joy and love. I know that because I was there, and that is my journey. So my name is Quentin Hamp. If you want more content like this, of course, please share this with someone who it'll benefit. Hit the subscribe button so I know folks are appreciating it. And then if you also want to download my 5 vital steps to a 7-figure business, you're going to go to quentinhamp.com. That's coming out May 15th. So hop over there, download the content there, and feel free to implement it in your business. I am blessed to have helped over 30 businesses to 7 figures and several businesses to 8 figures. So you can copy what we're doing and put that into your business.